You know about Jake Gyllenhaal's weird dating history? Dated Kirsten Dunst, rumored to have a fling with Natalie Portman, dated Reese Witherspoon, dated Taylor Swift, had a fling with Anna Kendrick, French actress from Blue's the Warmest Color, Lea Seydoux, and she's the new James Bond girl. Rumored to have hooked up with Friday.
You're one of those guys, you keep the relationships on the down low.
You dating now? No. Is it hard to date being Jake Gyllenhaal? I don't know. That's a tricky question.
Jake Gyllenhaal might just be the worst boyfriend in all of Hollywood. For years, he's been linked to vulnerable women in the industry. Yet somehow, he always walks away clean. Taylor Swift tried to sound the alarm and warn everyone about his shady behavior, but Jake slipped right through the cracks with no consequences. Let's break down this messy, chaotic love life. Jake isn't just known for his acting, his name rings out in the gossip circles for being one of the smoothest talkers in the game. Behind closed doors, he's earned the label of one of the biggest heartbreakers in Hollywood. He chases younger women, vanishes out of nowhere, and still manages to dodge the smoke from heartbroken exes and serious red flags. How does he keep getting away with it? For years, his relationships have been carefully handled by PR teams, brushing off scandal after scandal. Even though he's reportedly been a nightmare boyfriend to some of the biggest names in entertainment, the media keeps giving him a soft pass, but not today. We're diving straight into Jake Gyllenhaal's dating history. And trust, there's a pattern you can't unsee. Why do people throw around words like groomer when his name comes up? Why do folks swear he's a serial heartbreaker? It's time to find out.
You dating now? No. Is it hard to date being Jake Gyllenhaal?
I don't know. That's a trick question. I think to me, it's like I really love my family. I'm really focused on my work too. So that's the thing right now. For the last few years, really, trying to, get a little better than 11-year-old actors.
Yeah, gotta work on that.
That's been a big focus of mine.
Would you say though that you have really good game? Like when it comes to maybe seeing someone, you're like, oh, interesting. Let me see if I can just make game.
Yeah. I think
If I pull out Nightcrawler, maybe I'd be like, they'll be dead on the street at the end of the day.
Let's rewind to 2002. That's where it all began. Jake started dating Kirsten Dunst in September of that year. They met through his sister Maggie Gyllenhaal, who co-starred with Kirsten in Mona Lisa Smile. Maggie must have really liked Kirsten because she played matchmaker and linked her up with Jake. Things got real serious real fast. The couple moved into a $1.7 million home in LA and even adopted a German Shepherd puppy together. Yeah, it got that deep. But by July 2004, it was over. Jake and Kirsten remained the best of friends, sources claimed. But the real reason behind the breakup kept totally under wraps. Of course, they didn't want the world to know what really went down in that breakup. Jake actually kept their dog, Atticus, the German Shepherd they raised together. Atticus passed away in 2015. Rest in peace, sweet boy. Both Jake and Kirsten were working actors, but at that time, their careers were the only thing that mattered. Every public appearance they made, totally staged.
Kirsten and Jake didn't exactly stay friends. Gyllenhaal was only 22 years old when they started dating, and Dunst was even younger. It actually turns out that they had a bit of a custody battle, deciding who would be the one to keep him later. "Oh, I'm too young to get married," she said just 2 months before their breakup was announced. "Seriously, I'm 22 years old. It's so annoying that they put pressure on you." Gyllenhaal too remained surprisingly grounded when it came to Dunst and the media frenzy, confessing in the interview, "Kirsten and I know what's real and what's not," he revealed. "We know what happens when..."
Kirsten later admitted their personalities just didn't mix. She said he was more of a chill, stay-at-home type, while she was always out and about. "I'm an out-on-the-town type girl," she said. "And honestly, I get both sides. Some of us are homebodies, but still love a good night out once in a while. Drop a comment if you're more of a Jake or a Kirsten." Their relationship was deep. They lived together, shared a dog, and were serious enough that they pretended to still be together even after breaking up. Can you imagine?
The day Jake Gyllenhaal and Kirsten Dunst announced their split was a wild one for the tabloid press. While their spokesperson was telling the media that Jake and Kirsten had broken up, he also dropped another bombshell. It seems they actually broke up some time ago and were reluctant to announce it for a long time. Naturally, this came as a bit of a shock to the paparazzi who had been covering the couple, since it apparently went unnoticed up until then.
They were still going out, showing face for the paparazzi, smiling for camera, while secretly done behind the scenes. That's how intense things got. But don't worry about Kirsten, she came out on top. She's now married to fellow actor Jesse Plemons. They met back in 2015 while filming Fargo and quietly tied the knot in July 2022. So yes, Kirsten found her real one. Reese Witherspoon, though, her chapter with Jake was a whole different story. Jake met Reese in 2007 while filming Rendition. And you'll notice a theme here. He always seems to meet these women on set. By November 2008, Reese said Jake was a super supportive boyfriend, and it looked like things were going well. They kicked things off in 2007, were spotted jet-setting across the globe in 2008, and by 2009, things were heating up. Things seemed picture-perfect in October 2009. Reese gushed in an interview saying, "We spend the weekends out of LA in Ojai, where I have a farmhouse. We have chickens. We grow cucumbers and tomatoes. I love it. It reminds me of where I grew up in Tennessee." Sounds like a dreamy little escape, right? Chickens, fresh veggies, countryside peace. It looked like Reese and Jake had built a cozy love nest. But then, boom, just a month later, it all came crashing down. After talking about their quiet farm life and how happy they were, reports suddenly broke that Jake and Reese had split. That's a wild turnaround. Publicly declaring love one minute, breakup headlines the next. People were shook. And it didn't help that Reese had gone on record sounding so into it. Talking about gardens and chickens like they were building a future together. Then just 4 weeks later, done. No explanations, no details, just a breakup. Cold.
Co-star in Rendition and ex-girlfriend, Reese Witherspoon.
I've never acted with her. We've been in the same movie, but I've never acted with her. But she is, as I would say about most of the women who are close friends or I've had relationships with in my life, like one of the smartest, strongest people I've.
But the chaos didn't stop there. Next up, Taylor Swift. And this is where Jake's rep took a serious hit. Because if there's one fan base you don't want to mess with, it's the Swifties. Jake and Taylor first made headlines back in 2010 after being spotted together in New York. And it wasn't just a fling, they even spent Thanksgiving together that year. That's not casual. Thanksgiving's for close people, for family, so clearly things got intense, fast. We didn't know much about what went down behind closed doors at first, but then Taylor dropped a bombshell. Her song, All Too Well, gave everyone the real tea. That track didn't just hint at heartbreak, it laid it all out. Pain, manipulation, and a broken young woman trying to make sense of what happened. In the song, she sings about a man blaming their breakup on an age gap, saying, "You said if we had been closer in age, maybe it would have been fine." That line stings. You can feel the emotion, and fans instantly knew who she was talking about. Taylor Swift, she's slick with it, sneaky, subtle, and low-key genius when it comes to her lyrics. And honestly, that's part of her power. She never straight up confirmed that All Too Well was about Jake Gyllenhaal. But come on, we all know the clues, they're all there, plain as day. There's a line in the song about getting lost upstate, and guess what? Jake and Taylor were literally spotted picking apples together in upstate New York during their short-lived romance. And then there's the iconic scarf line. Taylor sings, "And I left my scarf there at your sister's house, and you've still got it in your drawer even now." That's a direct nod to the Thanksgiving they spent together at Jake's sister Maggie's place. Now here's where it gets weird. Taylor really thinks he's still holding on to that scarf, like years later. And that's kind of creepy, right? If you're done with someone, why are you keeping their scarf like it's some kind of trophy? It's giving trophy behavior, low-key serial killer energy, like when they keep a necklace or photo. Not saying Jake's out here like that, but you get the vibe. Be honest, do you keep stuff from your exes? 'Cause if so, why? I don't even want to see mine in old photos, let alone hold on to something they left behind. Taylor's not just talking about lost scarves, though. She dives deep into the power dynamics, especially the big age gap between them, which definitely had fans raising eyebrows.
I'm going to explain the Taylor and Jake relationship in 60 seconds. So they start dating in October 2010. She's 20. I believe he's 29, verge of 30, because they're both twin flames and Sagittariuses. There's not a lot of photographic evidence of the relationship other than the iconic one where they're walking down with the fall leaves and he's wearing the beanie and her arms kind of draped over him. and then the one with her and his sister, and then obviously the one where she's wearing the scarf, the Gucci scarf that later he is wearing after they break up. So they start dating October, November. It gets rocky from November to December. I think the relationship ends after her 21st birthday, which is December 13th. He doesn't show up. He ends up buying her a $11,000 guitar to make up for it. There's photos of her on her 21st birthday like crying at the studio because he didn't show up. And the reason they broke up, as revealed in All Too Well, is because of age.
And when Taylor dropped the extended version of All Too Well, the internet exploded. Jake couldn't stay silent. He had to say something. The heat was too intense. Everyone was dragging him, and instead of owning anything, Jake tried to brush it off. He said, "It has nothing to do with me. This song, it's about her relationship with her fans. It's her expression." He added, "Artists tap into personal experiences for inspiration, and I don't begrudge anyone that." Begrudge? Okay, Shakespeare. Most of us just know what a grudge is. So sure, Jake doesn't hold one, but it's clear he's trying hard to wash his hands of All Too Well and pretend none of this was ever about him.
Jake is mortified that Taylor targeted him for dating a 25-year-old on her new album. That very much gives off the same energy as, yes, I treated you badly in front of my friends, but that's not the problem. The problem is the way you reacted to it. How dare you act hurt when I did something hurtful to you? And it's not about you, babes. It's about Taylor and her art. If you feel called out for that, maybe instead of being mortified that Taylor called you out for dating a 25-year-old, maybe you should be mortified that you're in your 40s and still dating girls in their early 20s.
Now let's talk about the real mess, because even though Jake Gyllenhaal caught major heat from Taylor Swift's All Too Well, some folks out here still try to flip the blame back on Taylor. One person on Reddit straight up said Taylor's just mad about a 10-year-old relationship and needs to move on. They claim she's dragging Jake just for being a bad boyfriend. And technically, yeah, being a bad boyfriend ain't illegal, but let's be real. When you're 30 dating a 20-year-old, it's gonna raise eyebrows. Yes, it's legal. Nobody's saying it's a crime. But still, what kind of 30-year-old wants to date someone who literally can't even order a drink at dinner with them? That alone feels off. Another Reddit user even said, all these breakup songs by Taylor, maybe she's just a bad girlfriend with impossible standards. That take? Wild. Blaming Taylor for all her heartbreaks without looking at the patterns in her exes? Nah, that's lazy. You gotta be careful throwing shots at Taylor like that, especially when she's out here speaking up about real emotional stuff that a lot of women relate to. Many people actually see her revisiting this breakup years later as something so real. Because when you get older, you start to look back at those past relationships and think, wait, was I being played? Did that feel okay because I was too young to know better? It's that grown-up clarity, what people call hindsight. Taylor was in her early 20s back then, still figuring things out. Now that she's older, she's looking back like, wow, that wasn't love. That was manipulation. And honestly, that realization hits a lot of people hard when they finally step back and see the bigger picture. Now let's be clear, Jake wasn't doing anything illegal. The age gap was 9 years, not against the law. There's no confirmed proof of anything deeper or more serious. But that doesn't mean folks can't question the vibe of the situation, especially when there are rumors floating around about grooming. People have been whispering that he was acting shady behind the scenes, but you'll have to sound off in the comments and decide that for yourselves. Lucky for Jake, Taylor's not in his world anymore. He's moved on. But the internet, it never forgets. But real talk, I've got one question for Jake. Does he still have that scarf? Or maybe his current girlfriend tossed it out already? Jake's been dating this woman named Jean Cadieux since 2018, and from the outside, it looks like he's totally into her. He's been with her for years, so clearly something's working. But let's not get carried away. Don't expect wedding bells just yet. Jake doesn't give marriage material vibes. That's just not who he's shown himself to be. Still, he went on the Howard Stern show and was glowing about her, calling her the most amazing woman he's ever met. Sweet, right?
You're gonna get married. I did some research. I was looking at pictures of your girlfriend. I watched you guys, and you don't bring just anybody anywhere. You're one of those guys, you keep the relationships on the down low. You're out there, man. I mean, now I see you're in love.
I love her so much.
But notice, he keeps their whole relationship super low-key. That's not by accident. Jake straight up said, "It's no secret I'm in a relationship, and it's a wonderful relationship. But we're private. That's just who we are." Okay, cool, but let's point something out here. Jean is 16 years younger than Jake. Yup, another major age gap. And this ain't a one-time thing, it's a pattern. When Jake dated Kirsten Dunst, he was 22 and she was 20. Then Taylor, he was 29 and she was freshly 20. Now Jean, he's in his 40s and she was 28 when they got together. It's starting to look like Jake's always reaching down the age ladder when it comes to his relationships.
So there's a line in the song that says, "I'll get older, but your lovers will stay the same." As a scholar of AP statistics, I thought that I was qualified to plot this. So here we go. We have Jake Gyllenhaal's age. He keeps going up on a steady trend, and then his girlfriends at the time are all over the place, and we'll get into it. So he starts off with singer Jenny Lewis, who's 20 at the time, and he's 25, which is totally fair. We'll give it to him. And then they break up, and he starts dating Kirsten Dunst, who's just 2 years difference than him. He dates Kirsten for a while, and they have a beautiful 2-year age difference relationship, and then he starts dating Natalie Portman, so he's creeping into a relationship where he could almost be younger. When things end with Natalie, he actually goes for the older woman and starts dating Reese Witherspoon, who's 4-year age difference. When things end with Reese, she should have hit him with not a spoon, but with a hammer, because bam, we get to the shit show that we all know and love. In 2010, Jake starts dating Taylor. There's a 10-year age difference. It's a 3-month relationship, and he shatters her heart. When he breaks things off with Taylor, he goes into what I like to call the battle of the brunettes. In early 2011, Jake starts dating Anna Kendrick. There's a 5-year age difference between the two of them. Then he just leans into the curve. Jake dates Jessica Londes in 2011. There is a 9-year age difference between.
Sure, this isn't Leonardo DiCaprio level, where once a woman turns 25, it's game over. But still, it's a pattern worth noticing. Even fans have caught on. One comment pointed out, "This is just a trend with famous men." And there's even a Tumblr post that's gone viral tracking celeb guys and the ages of their girlfriends at the time they were dating. And yeah, the numbers don't lie. Let's be real. It's borderline nasty when grown men in their 40s and 50s start dating women barely out of college. One comment said it best. Does anyone else remember when Jake Gyllenhaal was doing press for Spider-Man Far From Home and he kept calling 23-year-old Tom Holland a kid while dating a woman the exact same age as Tom?
I really adored playing him, and I also loved working with Tom Holland, and I short of sounding like a total sycophant and saying to everybody what every actor says about their co-star when they're in a press junket, I really, truly do love the kid.
Make it make sense. He sees a 23-year-old guy as a child, but a 24-year-old woman? Suddenly she's girlfriend material? That double standard is wild. Nobody's saying he broke any laws, but the mindset behind that is giving serious mixed signals. You can't call one a kid and date the other like it's nothing. But Jake's shady dating pattern isn't the only thing fans are clocking. His whole reputation has started to shift. People who used to see him as just the artsy, mysterious heartthrob are now asking, is this guy just emotionally unavailable in disguise? Every time things get serious with a woman, he either dips or pulls the private card. That's cool when you're 25 and figuring things out, but Jake's been in the game long enough. The commitment dodge, it's getting old. And let's not forget, Taylor Swift's not the only one who's hinted that Jake might have played games. Even Reese Witherspoon reportedly ended things because she felt like Jake wanted more from her emotionally than she was ready to give. But now people are starting to think maybe it was the other way around. Maybe Jake wanted her to do all the emotional lifting, while he stayed detached. And guess what? That emotionally distant vibe shows up everywhere. In interviews, people have noticed how Jake constantly dodges deep questions about love, relationships, and his past. He gets uncomfortable, makes jokes, or spins it into something vague. Fans are like, how are you so private but dated one of the most famous pop stars on the planet and let it blow up that publicly? Exactly. Even during the peak of the all-too-well drama, he didn't really own anything. He gave that polished quote about artists expressing themselves, but never addressed the actual experience Taylor wrote about. No reflection, no accountability, just vibes and deflection. And now, with his longtime girlfriend Jean still by his side, people are watching closely. Will this be the one he finally commits to? Or will history repeat itself again? One thing's for sure, fans are no longer falling for the quiet nice guy act. They're seeing the pattern, the behavior, and the emotional dodge game. Jake might have been able to run from the tabloids before, but in 2025, social media never forgets. And the court of public opinion, they're always watching. So yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's love life, a straight-up roller coaster of drama, age gaps, and emotional red flags. From heartbreak to scandals to that mysterious missing scarf, it's clear he's been playing by his own rules for way too long. But now that the spotlight's on him and fans are paying attention, will he finally change? Or is this just who Jake's always been behind the scenes? Either way, Hollywood's golden boy isn't looking so golden anymore. If you were shocked by the tea in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We've got way more celebrity mess to dig into. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose dating history should we expose next? And don't click away just yet. Check out the next video on your screen for even more wild celebrity drama. You won't believe what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay messy.